Flashing red alert banners raced across TV screens in Manila. Social media, just lit up with urgent headlines. Philippines secures new outpost in West Philippine Sea. Defies China's might. At dawn, a Philippine Navy flotilla, escorted by Coast Guard ships, sailed into the disputed Ayungin Shoal. Helicopters roared overhead as Marines disembarked onto a newly deployed floating base. Cameras captured the moment. The Filipino flag was raised high above the platform, flapping defiantly in the monsoon wind. Gunboats circled, their presence a clear warning. A voice crackled over the radio. Mission accomplished. Outpost secured. The world watched as Manila made its boldest move in decades. The message was unmistakable. The Philippines was drawing a line in the sand against China's advances. This was not just another protest. It was a direct physical act of sovereignty. Manila's new move is both military and symbolic. Overnight, the Philippine Navy established a permanent floating base on Ayungin Shoal. Satellite images revealed armored barges, radar domes, and anti-drone defenses being installed. The government declared a 12 nautical mile defense zone around the outpost. Within hours, the armed forces of the Philippines announced regular patrols and supply runs. A network of underwater sensors was being laid to monitor Chinese vessels. Defense Secretary Rafael Reyes declared, "This is a sovereign act. We are here to stay. The West Philippine Sea is not for sale." The outpost also serves as a humanitarian hub. Emergency supplies, medical teams, and relief helicopters are now stationed here, ready to assist Filipino fishermen. The message: the Philippines is protecting both its territory and its people. This escalation is unprecedented. Never before has Manila established such a fortified, visible presence in the disputed waters. It signals a new, assertive phase in the West Philippine Sea dispute. This dramatic move comes after months of rising tensions. Chinese Coast Guard ships have repeatedly blocked Filipino resupply missions to the old Sierra Madre outpost. Water cannon clashes, aggressive maneuvers, and radio threats have become routine. Manila filed dozens of diplomatic protests, but Beijing's ships only pressed closer. Just weeks ago, a near collision between Chinese and Filipino vessels sparked outrage at home and abroad. Fishermen reported harassment and intimidation by Chinese patrols. The Philippine government warned of an unprecedented threat to national security. Behind the scenes, the South China Sea is a powder keg. Several countries claim overlapping waters, but China's massive 9-line claim covers almost the entire sea. Beijing has built artificial islands, runways, and missile bases, heightening fears of conflict. The Philippines' alliance with the United States adds another layer of complexity. Joint patrols and military exercises have increased, signaling that Manila is not alone. By securing a new outpost, the Philippines is openly challenging China's maritime empire. For years, Beijing sought to dominate the South China Sea through gray zone tactics, using civilian and paramilitary ships to slowly squeeze rivals without open fighting. Manila's move changes the game. The new base is a physical barrier to China's expansion. Surveillance radars can track Chinese vessels. Anti-drone defenses can counter intelligence gathering. Regular patrols disrupt Chinese swarming tactics. The message is strategic. We will not be bullied off our own waters. Filipino officials cite the 2016 Hague ruling, which invalidated China's sweeping claims. The new outpost is a concrete step to enforce those legal rights. China faces a dilemma. If it removes the outpost by force, it risks war and global condemnation. If it does nothing, it looks weak. Manila has flipped the script, forcing Beijing to respond on Philippine terms. In Manila, the mood is, well, fiercely patriotic. Crowds gather outside Malacañang Palace, waving flags and chanting, "WPS atin ito! The West Philippine Sea is ours!" Opinion polls show overwhelming support for the new outpost. Social media influencers are hailing the government's courage and resolve. President Liza Robredo gives a prime-time address, saying, "We stand for our rights. We stand for our people. No one can take the West Philippine Sea from us." Her words echo across radio stations and, TikTok feeds. The nation feels united, if only for a moment. Beijing, in contrast, is furious. The Chinese Foreign Ministry calls the outpost illegal and provocative. State media demand immediate removal and warn of serious consequences. Online, Chinese nationalists flood forums with calls for military action. Diplomats scramble behind closed doors. Both sides expel a handful of lower-level envoys. The atmosphere is tense, but neither side wants to fire the first shot. Beijing now faces a high-stakes choice. Will it escalate with force, risking war in its own backyard? Or will it turn to economic pressure, cutting off trade and tourism? Some experts predict new Chinese blockades, cyber attacks, or even staged accidents near the outpost. Chinese warships move closer to the contested waters. Meanwhile, U.S. 7th Fleet vessels are spotted nearby. Washington issues a statement of ironclad support for Manila. Pentagon officials hint that any armed attack on Filipino forces could trigger the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty. Analysts debate if the U.S. will really intervene in a crisis. Some warn that any clash could spiral into a wider regional war. Others say China will avoid direct confrontation, fearing American involvement in international backlash. For now, the world waits, watching every radar blip and satellite image. The balance of power in Asia hangs by a thread. Manila's move has sent shockwaves through Southeast Asia. Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia, all with their own disputes with China, are watching closely. Some may follow Manila's example and build up their own defenses. Others may seek new alliances with the US, Japan, or Australia. Asia's power balance is shifting. China's might makes right approach faces resistance. Washington, eager to contain China's rise, steps up military and diplomatic support for Manila. Japan offers radar equipment. Australia sends maritime advisors. There is also a risk of security dilemma. As more countries fortify their positions, the risk of accidental clashes grows. Experts warn of a new arms race, a dangerous spiral that could destabilize the whole region. Yet, for many, Manila's stand is inspiring. It shows that small countries can fight for their rights, even against giants. The West Philippine Sea becomes a symbol of national pride and resistance. For ordinary Filipinos, the standoff is both a source of anxiety and hope. Fishermen in Palawan and Zambales cheer the Navy's presence. They feel safer venturing out to sea. "We can finally fish in our own waters," says Mang Tony, a local boat captain. But there are worries too. Chinese blockades could cut off trade, raising prices of fuel and food. Some fear clashes at sea could escalate, putting lives at risk. Parents urge their children to stay away from the coast. On social media, stories of heroism and defiance go viral. Volunteers collect donations for the troops. Schools teach students about the nation's claim over the West Philippine Sea. The dispute, once distant, now touches every Filipino home. Yet, uncertainty looms. Will the new outpost bring peace or provoke conflict? Many pray for diplomacy, even as they prepare for the worst. The Philippines' bold move has changed the game in the West Philippine Sea. For the first time in years, Manila is leading, not just reacting. Its new outpost is a message to the world. Small nations can defend their sovereignty, even against great powers. But the future is unclear. Will China back down or strike back? Will the US step in or hesitate at the brink? The risk of miscalculation is high. Even a small incident could lead to disaster. What is certain is that the region will never be the same. The West Philippine Sea is now Asia's new flashpoint, a test of resolve, alliances, and the rule of law. For Filipinos, it is about pride, survival, and the dream of a free and secure nation. As darkness falls over the contested waters, the world waits for the next move. The story is far from over.